Hey, welcome guys. Sorry for the lower half view, but this is the hammer strength gripper tutorial. I picked up this machine secondhand. It was given away by the New York Islanders hockey team, and they gave it to a local equipment fabricator who I will not name in this video, but if you're from Long Island and you're looking for equipment, I'll hook you up with his name, his number, where he works. You can get some great stuff, low cost. Anyhow, this is the hammer gripper machine. It's a great machine for grip development. I use it at the end of my workouts if I still have something left in my hands. A lot of times I don't. With the people I work with and teach, grip training in general probably comprises 5 to 10 minutes at best in terms of specialization at the end of workouts. However, a lot of the things that we do execute before that 5 minutes to 10 minutes has a lot to do with grip strength. So how do we use this machine effectively? Well, the first thing is that your hands have to fit right over this top bar with your thumbs able to flex and extend. That's the first thing. You have to find positioning. Once you find this position, it usually helps me to teach this by having the participant bring their thumbs together. Once the thumbs are together, lean on the palms. I found that a lot of students cheat during this exercise when their feet are on the floor. So what I've done is that I've taken yoga blocks and I've placed them right next to the base of this machine. So you'll see me pick my feet up, put them on top of the yoga blocks, and now it's almost impossible for you to see it on video, but I can tell you that all of my body weight now is concentrated on my palms. From here, simply pull up the bottom and let the bars meet. Once the bars meet, there's many different ways that you can exercise. For example, you're watching me do a static hold right now. Just holding is the act of supporting. And the thinner a bar is when you're in the act of supporting, the more recruitment occurs. So let's just lower this down for a moment. The thinner a bar is, the more overall recruitment is what occurs. All right, so thin bars, there is a definite place. I believe the bars on this machine are anywhere between 1/2 and 3/4 inches thick. Let's go back to execution. The first thing we learned is the static hold. After the static hold, we'll just do nice repetitions until the middle and the ring finger are the only two fingers left in a state of flexion. You can see that my index fingers are no longer in a state of flexion. My pinkies are barely there. You see me wiggling these two, but the middle and ring finger are still there. So let's put the pinkies back down, index fingers back down, flex back up, hold it for a 1 count, really slow down, almost let the bar slide out of your pinky and index fingers, and right when you feel them straight, that's when you flex back up. Obviously, this gets exponentially more difficult with more resistance. However, if you know how to use this machine and others like it, you don't have to use a lot. You just have to know how to do it. So this is the stretch technique, okay? Remember, these two guys are not going to be flexed around the bar. The other ones will, okay? You can do repetitions right before your index fingers or your pinkies come off, all right? And that's a very controlled and careful way to use this machine. If you're somebody that's worried about your own personal liability or that of others, that's what you would do. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Remember, 1, long, that's 2, and then more conservative, that's 3. If you want to go 4, constant tension, you'll do short range repetitions, gently click the top, and go right back down. And that's a great way to go. What if you're an athlete and you sprain your thumb? you're going to be out of the game for a little while, right? Wrong. This time, instead of wrapping your thumbs around, you put your thumbs on top, okay? And they'll be nice and comfortable. And I know how the sprained thumb feels. I've done it several times playing basketball, also fighting. Not pleasurable. However, you can still work. It's fingers now, okay? All fingers. So we'll go back to, you can do a static hold. We'll go back to the long stretch. However, if you do have a sprained thumb, I would recommend minimal stretch. And again, just use fingers, all right? Thumbless training can be done. That's an option. You see, there is a curvature, almost a diamond shape to this machine. So there is a top portion. There's a side portion, which actually can help with a lot of you steel benders. I know a lot of you guys in the world bend steel, short, medium, long bar, scrolling. I got a lot of respect for you guys. What you can do is you can build up this portion of the hand, by placing them down in the crease right here, or right at the point it goes in the middle of your hand. So we'll pull that up, and right as you're secure, flex until it meets. And this one, you're going to keep the rep range shorter. You're not going to let the pinky or the index finger come off, because it's a little bit more difficult, definitely more painful, and you want to execute common sense. Certain things you have to eliminate just because the situation is asking for something and demanding another. So this is the way you could do this. So essentially it's thumbless in the middle, okay? Let's go back down. For the purpose of education, top, middle, bottom. When you're doing the middle repetitions, it's always thumbless. I've never done them with the thumb because it doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right, it's not to be done. Or at least that's my assumption on training and life in general. So let's progress to the last, the bottom. The bottom is going to be most difficult for a vast majority of people. Now again, we're going to go through a couple different movements. The static hold, right? You lean forward, feet are elevated so you can't cheat. Then with the stretch, you can stretch all the way down so that your index fingers and your pinkies come off, and then flex back up. Once again, paying attention to the way it feels, paying attention to if the weight gets heavier. Please do not let your index or your pinky fingers come off this bar. This is much more difficult, and you're going to need all your fingers flexed around the bar. So limited range in repetition right here, okay? And you can also execute the shorter rep range type of a burnout set, and that will work great, okay? So those are the options. To recap, elevate your feet. I use yoga blocks. You can use whatever you like. Also remember, your thumb fits around the bar perfectly. Static hold, long stretch, shorter rep ranges, right? We can go to the middle. Great for you steel benders. We're not going to stretch all the way because there's a new pain element, and it's just the way this machine's made and the way our hand works. It wouldn't help if we wrapped our thumb around, so this is essentially thumbless. Segue back to the top, thumbless, right? Long repetitions are not recommended here because we're thumbless, and if you have a sprained thumb, again, you want to be a little bit closer in, all right? Nice and tight. So we transition to the middle for steel benders, and we're going to the bottom where your thumb does wrap around, and my professional recommendation is not to allow the pinkies or the ring fingers off the bar, unless you are a very high level lower arm person, which means you're very strong, doing things in a variety of methods with your hands. So again, this is the hammer gripper machine, more or less a novelty item. If you're doing really good work with physical conditioning, grip training should probably be 5 to 10 minutes of your workout if it needs to be done. That's really about it, guys. I just wanted to make sure that you would get something out of this. I know a lot of you guys out there are very interested in this machine, and this is a great way to use it. Poundage is secondary next to the execution of the movement. So if you really want to know what I'm doing at the moment, I will load this up with 25-pound plates typically. I like the weight to be further up the horn here. That way it makes it a little bit more difficult rather than, let's say, putting on 100-pound plates or 45-pound plates, okay? And it just gives me an opportunity to work a little bit smarter and harder at the same time. I will typically put 100 to 150 pounds on it, do as many repetitions as I can in the second style, thumbs around, full stretch, right? Then, when there's nothing more there, obviously this is going to go to the ground, I'll do one more set without my thumbs, right here. And it's usually shorter rep ranges because my fingers are just toast, okay? Usually I do a lot of arm over arm, seated pulling, sled dragging, and my hands are usually gassed. So if I do it at all, this is where I go. After that, I let my hands slide off, boom, and that's it. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm aiming for repetition ranges in the hundreds. Do I get them? No, but aim high. Never put a limit on yourself, but that might be a whole nother video altogether. Last thing, safety. How do I get out? Okay, static hold. How do I get out of the static hold? Well, you're gonna have to feel your way in, and this is what I'm gonna say. You can cheat here, because you're gonna protect your thumb. Static hold. I'm leaning on my palms. I'm leaning on my palms. I know it's gonna go. I know it's gonna go. I know it's gonna go. Now lean back. Take your thumbs off. Let your thumbs and palms slide down the bar while you're leaning back, and let the bar go down to the floor. If you were on the side, right here, it's a little easier because your thumbs are already off. You slide right down. If you're on the bottom, right? I've seen people do this, by the way. I have to show this. This does not feel good. If it feels good to you, by all means. But for me, no way. So let's show you here. If you're in a spot where you need to let it go down here, again, this is the lean back, thumbs around, and down. You need to learn how to get out. So I'm sorry if this video is a little longer. I actually planned it to be 10 minutes. However, safety precautions, you gotta know how to get out. I've heard of people hurting their thumbs with this machine, and it makes sense that they would if they don't know how to get out of the set. All right, so I hope this was helpful. Again, it's a hammer strength gripper, a very well made machine that will work well if people know how to use it effectively. All right, guys, have a great day. If you have any questions on anything to do with the hammer strength gripper, its execution, how I use it, how I teach my students to use it, feel free to write me, make a video, post it, and send it to me. I'd be happy to help. That's what I do. Take care, guys. Have a great day.